Lobotomy wasn't just a failed medical experiment, it was a nightmare for many patients. The surgery itself was brutal, and the results often left people unrecognizable. They lost their personalities, emotions, and ability to function like normal human beings. Some were left in a zombie-like state, while others suffered seizures, infections, or even died. The first inspiration for lobotomy came from an experiment on monkeys. In the 1930s, two researchers, Carlisle Jacobson and John Fulton, performed brain surgeries on chimpanzees. They discovered that removing the prefrontal cortex made the monkeys calmer, but also stripped them of their natural behavior. At a medical conference in 1935, Antonio Egas Moniz, a Portuguese doctor, heard about this and thought,
If it works on monkeys, why not humans?
without fully understanding the risks, Moniz rushed to perform the first human lobotomies. He used a small drill to make holes in patients' skulls and injected pure alcohol into their brains, destroying connections. Later, he developed a tool called the leucotome, a wire loop used to slice brain tissue.
Moniz's method was already dangerous, but I, Walter Freeman, an American doctor, took it even further. I wanted a cheaper, faster way to perform lobotomies. So I invented the ice pick lobotomy. Instead of drilling into the skull, I pushed a long, sharp metal tool through the eye socket and hammered it into the brain. With a few quick side-to-side motions, I severed connections in the frontal lobe.
There was no anesthesia, just a bit of electroshock to knock the patient out. In many cases, Freeman performed lobotomies in his office, hospitals, or even hotel rooms, treating patients like experiments. He once lobotomized 25 people in a single day. Many patients changed forever after the surgery. Some became quiet and obedient, just like the monkeys in the experiment, but they also lost their emotions, creativity, and intelligence. Others suffered from seizures, infections, or severe brain damage. Some could no longer speak or take care of themselves. One patient kept rubbing his face raw for months after surgery as if he had forgotten how to stop. Another kept getting up and sitting down repeatedly, unable to break the pattern. Many became like empty shells. Their loved ones said they were no longer the same person. One of the most tragic cases was Rosemary Kennedy, sister of President John F. Kennedy. Her father ordered a lobotomy because she had mood swings. Freeman performed the surgery, but something went wrong. She was left unable to speak or walk properly for the rest of her life and had to live in an institution. At first, Freeman was celebrated as a genius, but as more patients suffered horrific consequences, people started realizing the truth. Stories of ruined lives and deaths spread. Even Freeman himself made mistakes. Once, while performing a lobotomy, he pushed too hard and killed the patient instantly. By the 1950s, new psychiatric drugs were introduced. These drugs could treat mental illness without cutting into the brain. People began to see lobotomy as barbaric and cruel. In 1967, Freeman performed his final lobotomy. The patient, a woman who had already undergone 3 lobotomies, died from a brain hemorrhage. After that, he was banned from performing surgery. By the 1970s, lobotomy was nearly completely abandoned. Today, it's remembered as one of the most horrific mistakes in medical history, a procedure that turned humans into lifeless shells.